What is up, everybody, and thank you for coming back to my channel. I have had quite a lot of questions regarding my last video and how generational wealth cannot be created through real estate. I want to be able to share this video with you so that you are able to sort of see the process in which I'm going through personally, and I want to be able to share that with you with full transparency. So there's nothing that's going to be held behind. I'm not selling a course. I'm not selling you a membership or anything of the sort. There is no ebook that I'm going to be providing you. This is everything in it so that you can actually see the numbers for yourself. And if you do have questions about just real estate in general, you have issues with understanding the mortgage process, and I highly recommend you just hit the link, which is my Calendly link. The link is in the description below, and we can go through and discuss all of the things that are involved in how to get invested in real estate. So if you've missed my last video, you would be able to go through the certain pain points that we face when actually even trying to enter the real estate market, because it gets overwhelming. Now, you might be able to say, all right, fine, I'm going to be able to take all the numbers. And don't get me wrong, this can be done everywhere. And I'm sure you've seen through all these other conferences and gurus talking about the markets that you can invest in and create generational wealth through real estate. And I am a believer in that. And I'm going through this process right now so that I can pass on my properties to my family. The main thing here is that you need to be able to look at the numbers. The numbers is what's going to actually prove to you whether or not this can happen or not. So I'm going to be going through, we're going to hop onto the desktop and we're going to go through the numbers themselves, and you can see them black and white as to what is happening here. So the first thing we're going to do is go through some images of the property and what the property is like. And wow, it was pretty bad. I bought this basically literally off paper. And then went down there, took a look at the property to figure out what was needed to sort of fix this property up, get the value that we needed. And so it was quite frightening because one of them was just horrible with like that cat urine smell. Some of the units are fairly up to date in the sense that they just need a minor refresh, and some were just horrible. And in pretty bad shape. People had been there for a very long time. But again, if you go back to my video, the best thing about what this property had to offer was fixed term leases. And so we've taken on that, and we should be able to turn this property over by the end of the year, maybe into January, depending on how far we get with the actual process, so that we're able to actually get all of our money back, including the renovation, keep the property, and still make some decent money on the back end. So this basically becomes what many people call the infinite BRRRR. So you can't do this in Ontario, or it's very hard to find. But here, this property has actually been able to do so, and there are other properties that can do this also. Let's see exactly what this property has to offer, and you tell me whether or not this is something that can actually be done, as many people are doubting it and it's just, a bunch of dog shit. It's not. So let's get into those numbers. So the first thing I want to be able to point out to you guys is that the money is in the numbers. So when you go into a property and you see that there's a lot of work, provided that it's not like an endless amount of renovations where the cost of actually bringing those things up to spec is far more. If I had to redo the whole entire property top to bottom, I had a quote for $288,000, which is crazy insane, but that's literally a full overhaul. We're going to be kind of almost 75% of that, but have managed to figure out ways to be able to fix certain things up on a budget and get this done where we get our value that we want, leave some meat on the bone if we need to actually either A, do a little bit of an upgrade and refinance again, or B, sell it so that they have a little bit of upside to be able to refinance it themselves, and be able to reap the rewards also. So this property here is a 8-unit property. It's basically 4 units in each of these houses, which are side by side. Those numbers here. So basically here we purchased this property here for $565,000. Basically here I had put $10,000, $103,000 is the remainder of the down payment. The loan is actually an 80-20. We got a residential loan, so we needed to put 20% down. And so here we have some additional costs that we've put in. So basically we needed about $113,000 to close the entire deal. And so now we are officially closed. We own the property. The transfer has already taken place. So we've got a cost plus improvement loan, pretty much at almost 80% loan to value. So here basically you're sitting at a loan currently of $449,000. So what I really wanted to show you is basically what is happening with our expenses. So currently the rents are pretty shite. There's a couple that are close to market value, which is pretty good. You can see we've got here a 700, 595, 700, 950, another 575, 950, 1,000. So basically on a yearly basis, the annual income is $77,640 for the 2 properties together. Now you guys might think, oh, that's great. Well, not really. So there are some pretty high costs when it comes to the operating expenses of properties in Nova Scotia. And so this was something that was an eye-opener for us also. So heat and oil, they don't have natural gas. So you can see here your costs of gas. Look at that, $750 a month just to for heating and oil. You've got property taxes, $434. Your insurance there per month. These are all per month basically. So if you look at all of these expenses here, is about $64,000. So if you took the numbers here, basically of what this, these under market value rents are, less this amount here of $63,804. And so you've got in your pocket right now $13,836. You're not trying to take this condition of the property and just run it the way it is. Why? Because you've put $113,000 of your money in and you want that back out working for you instead of it just being stuck as dead money. So if you look at what $13,000 in a year gives you on $113,000, fine, it may be a 12% return if you think that's great and the market's going to appreciate, but I don't want that. I want my property to have very little of my own money in there and so that I can go off and buy another property. So these numbers are fine, that at least they cash flow while we're doing our renovations. So we've also received our improvement, which is going to be about $166,000. We now look at what are our projected numbers. So based on these numbers here, and these are actually quite conservative, I would think there's another $300 or so per month amongst all of them, which is basically just like $50 or so here and there. When we do a few things to increase that value, gives us a annual rental income of $116,000. Big difference. Now, from this $116 to these expenses, obviously there's a lot more money there. So there's obviously an income of about $52,000 there. This is not the goal, because in order to get to this, you actually need to put money in. What we've got here now is what the property will do for us when we're all said and done. So basically, after spending $160,000 that has gone into the renovations, now you can make these comparisons here as to what's happening with our monthly payments. So basically here, we've got monthly payments now actually of $4,456. We've got our capex here. We've got property taxes. We put every single thing in, as you can see, to make this. Now, you can't change this. So even if your numbers are different, these are the minimum requirements. So you may have certain expenses which may be lower. You may not have property management expenses here of $679. You might be doing the management yourself. But guess what? You will have to take those numbers, as that is a set rule based on the institution who is going to be lending you this money. The best part about what's happening here is they're going to give you a loan for 85% of the value, which is amazing. Guys, you're leaving 15%. There is still money in the pot for when you sell, but you've also got a property that is now making you money. So here you can actually take a look and see what's happening. The assessed value here we're showing of about 1.25 million. Don't worry about these. These were some previous calculations that we were making and then corrected ourselves over here. Now, we already know this value before we even bought the house, that we actually have a lower value when we were doing this refinance schedule over here. But because we're going to be going a little bit over, so now our numbers of actual for renovation is actually going to be higher. We're actually going to be spending more than even the 166. But we'll probably do a little bit of that on our own side instead of doing the whole application, trying to get a loan for the difference of what we're trying to put in. But again, this rule had just changed, so we're able to take advantage of it now rather than wait 2 years in order to refinance this at 85%. Now, don't get me wrong, we were able to get refinancing in the first phase and literally get all of our money back out. But the idea now is that, hey, let's just skip this middle step and go straight to the 85 and get all of our money back and some. Be able to take out $240,000 out of this project from that 1.25. The rest would all be, you would also be able to get that original 113,000 that we had put in. Plus, we're going to be getting back our renovation cost, which is actually a little bit higher than this too, which will still come out of a little bit of this net profit here, because we've only showed 166. I think our new total is going to be about 210,000, another 45. So make it $200,000 here for an actual profit. And again, less than 1 year, but even if you mark it as a year, you've made $200,000. But here's the best part, guys. You hold the property, we are actually going to be making about $2,200. These are the numbers, and it's all in black and white, so feel free, pause the video wherever you want. Again, if you have any other questions, definitely reach out to me. Information is in the bio below. My contact information is there, and I'd be happy to share everything with you. So until then, stay savvy, stay informed, stay knowledgeable, and may your investments flourish and your dreams of home ownership become a reality. And we'll catch you on the next one.